and just gonna start trying to cut through this metal. You ever just have one of those days where nothing is working for you? Here's what I was talking about. I don't know where this draw is coming from. I have fixed nothing and made everything worse. We should be good to see if this works. Cross your fingers. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Redcap Mechanic. I'm Gary, and we're back on the 1950 Dodge Meadowbrook. I think we're kind of moving towards the end here, I hope. And we have a couple more things to deal with. One is going to be the brakes. 2, the coolant system. 3 is going to be the shift linkage to try and get it into reverse. We may also have a 4th one, which may be the electrical issues, because every time I touch the battery post there's a little spark, so something's not right. But we're going to work through it and try and get her back on the road if we can, and see where we can go from there. I really appreciate a lot of the comments and advice that y'all have been giving me. It's been extremely helpful in my research and understanding of how to repair this. We're going to start with trying to work on the push rod for the brakes. I've got 2 options for that. The first is going to be the preferred option, courtesy of Andrea, who gave me a tip of you can back the nut off and it may repair the damaged threads. Second option, if that doesn't work, is going to be a little more extreme, where we just kind of cut the threads off with a hacksaw and deal with a shorter shaft. But we'll see where that lands us, so let's get started on it. This first method we're going to try is the least invasive one, and it's fairly simple, and I'm really hoping that it'll work, because that would be nice. You can see here the threads on the end are not quite correct. So one method is to spray this with PB Blaster and then loosen this nut, which then may correct these threads. That would be the best solution to this problem. Failing that, we can get a hacksaw and cut off just the tip, leaving the good threads behind. That'll be the less preferred method, but there should still be plenty of thread on this to make it happen. So let me try and do that. Unfortunately, I won't be able to work the camera as well, so it's just going to be, I'll get back to you when we're done with that. All right, well, the little bolt on here did unthread pretty easily, which was nice, and it threads back on just fine, which has led me to believe that it may not be this bolt that's the problem. It may be this thing, and I'm not sure if you can tell, but looking at it, the end of it's not very straight. So I've tried honing it out, because maybe it had like a little bit of squishing from when it was being pressed earlier with a file, and that still hasn't gotten me anywhere closer to where I want to be. So I'm going to take the hacksaw and cut off about a 1/4 inch of this at the end and see if that'll work. I don't know if I can cut something that thick, but we'll give it a shot. I just have a standard little hacksaw here, and just gonna start trying to cut through this metal. This may not be working out as well as I thought it would. This is just not going to work, is it? That is never going to cut through that. So I've just been taking the file and trying to hone it out to try and make that hole a little bit larger, because I think whatever the problem is, it starts with this hole not being able to, because that nut goes on and off just fine, which leads me to believe that that bolt isn't the problem. It's going to be this. So I don't know. I'm going to keep working on this and we'll get back to you. This is not going to work. I'm going to have to get a new one of these and try and install that. I don't know. It's just not fitting on there, and that's okay. We'll figure out another way to get that done. Let's move on to the cooling system. Hi. Well, here's the old lower radiator hose. As you can tell, it's not in great shape. Here's the new one. I'm not sure that's gonna work, but we'll give it a shot. That one might be okay. We'll clamp it down real tight, but we'll keep making progress. Also of note, 304 hose clamp assemblies, not a one of them fit, which is disappointing to say the least, but not unexpected. So we'll need to think on what to do now. Thankfully, I have a few of these old hose clamps I can cannibalize and put them around here. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. Well, I got the hose clamp on, but it doesn't seem very good on there. That's as tight as that one can go. It doesn't seem to be able to pull off, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't think that'll work, but screw it. Let's give it a shot. Well, both of those guaranteed to fit hoses did not fit. Super. That assortment of hose clamps, none of them worked. So we've got the original hose back on. Don't have a clamp on the top. The original crappy hose back on the bottom. I was able to steal 2 clamps and make that happen. The longer snout does not seem to be a problem. So we've pretty much got the radiator in. I haven't bolted it in yet, but I do need to take the thermostat out if we're going to do this cleaning. That's going to be important. So let me get that out, and I think we're going to be close to trying to clean this. I don't know if this is going to retain any water, but we'll see. We'll see. You ever just have one of those days where nothing is working for you? I almost feel like that's every day out here sometimes, and it gets a little frustrating. I have the thermostat out again, so that's just completely open. I have a gasket for that now, so I can use that when we put it back together. The radiator's mostly in. I haven't bolted it down, but this seems like it's pretty sturdy right now. Here's what I was talking about. I don't know where this draw is coming from, but it's basically welding, which is fine. I mean, it could be coming from, I don't know where it could be. Everything is so peachy keen. So let's fill it with just regular water, and if these hold, which I don't see how it would be possible they would, but if they do, then we'll do the citrus acid cleanse on it. Alright, got the petcock closed. We're filling with water. Let's turn it on and see what happens. This is a terrible idea. Okay, well, during our coolant test, we got a little bit of a fire. What was... I mean, could literally be anything. Ay, ay, ay. And that's also not holding water. That's why those spark plugs get so crusty if you're ever curious. And down there, everywhere. Okay. Everything seems to be leaking. Everything seems to be failing. This is very frustrating. Nothing is working. And this is very hard. I have fixed nothing and made everything worse. Well, nothing worked today. So that's very disappointing to me. It's been a hot day, a long day. So I'm just gonna go home and we will try and figure this out another time, I suppose. Alrighty, it's a new day, new us. Let's try and do this a little bit better. I know that I got a little frustrated and disheartened the other day. And I left that in the video because I think it's important for people that may, like me, who are not mechanics and are maybe interested in tackling this and seeing that it's not all wine and roses. There are a lot of times where you just kind of hit a wall with what you know and what you can do, and it can be very, very frustrating. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it or shouldn't try it, but like anything in life that's worth doing, it is a challenge and it will help you grow as a person. But if you get to a point where you're just out of shape, like bent out of shape about it, take a step away and take a day or two to kind of recalibrate and try and figure out what's going wrong and what you can do to fix it. Also, in my defense, how many people have had a rig both burn down and flood at the exact same moment? So it was a little frustrating, but that's okay. Today, I did some research. That thing that caught fire, that's called the voltage regulator. And that's an important, critical piece of the car. So we will probably need to get a new one of those, since catching fire is not something that it should do. It's not a Hunger Game. So I've got a new one of those. But before we even do that, we are going to have to get into the wiring and try and redo that, because that's, I think, what caused the voltage regulator to catch fire, which, again, it's not supposed to do. So we'll start with the wiring. I've got some hose clamps, some larger ones that will hopefully fit the water neck or the radiator hoses to prevent some of that flooding. And we'll put on a new layer of RTV on the thermostat housing to try and prevent it from leaking as well. And maybe we can see how it goes. I have no idea how long it's going to take me to do the wiring. I imagine it's going to be quite difficult, but we will give that a shot and see what we can get done, bit by bit. First things first, we'll clean off the old RTV from here and from the thermostat housing to try and get a good seal. Now, I only have one of these gaskets for it, and it takes a few days to get delivered, so I don't want to ruin it. But we'll go ahead and put this here, try and get as good a seal as possible on it. And put this guy back on. Alright, with the thermostat housing on and a gasket, we'll put the pipe back on. Again, this is still that old pipe because the new pipe was too big. So we'll just we'll run with this and see what happens. I did find out that the last time this car was plated was 1990, so that's been 36 years. Oofda. That should be on there good and tight now. I now have the upper radiator hose done with the new worm clamp screw clamps that'll hopefully hold it and not let water flow out. I've got the thermostat housing put back on. I just used the gasket. I didn't use any RTV, so hopefully I can reuse that gasket and not have to try and find another one. I have the lower radiator hose put back on with worm clamps. These are the not great ones, the hoses, so I'm hoping they don't leak, but we'll see how it goes. I've got the radiator set in here. It's not bolted, but it's not in any danger of hitting the fan, so we've got that all together. While I was putting that in, I put a hole in this thing, which I think is the heater housing, but thankfully I live in Texas, so don't really need that. Also, it appears to be made out of cardboard, which is very fascinating. But we'll have to, that's low on the priority list. That may just get plugged off. That'd be fine. Okay, so now we got to tackle the wiring, because we can't really do any other tests until we get that regulator box, voltage regulator box safe to work. And it does have quite a bit of bad wiring around it. So it all seems to run in through here. So maybe I just start trying to replace those wires one at a time. I'm thinking in hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have even tried uncoupling those from their electrical tape windings, because that's really just opened up a whole kettle of fish that I honestly would prefer not to have done. I did get a new voltage regulator, so hopefully that new one will work. There's a couple of different models and brands for this ancient technology, but this piece right here, the voltage regulator, controls the voltage throughout the car, so you need it to make sure that all the electronics that are on the car are working. Also, I've got the thermostat out because when we do the chemical flush, we don't want to have any impediments slowing it down, nor do we want that to get junked up. So I'm going to start, I guess, working on the wiring and see what we can do. My plan here, in so much as I have one, is to work on one wire at a time. Otherwise, I will never be able to get this back together. I'm going to take this side of the solenoid bolt off and then just start replacing these wires one at a time wherever they run to. I don't know if I'm really going to be able to film this very well because there's going to be a lot of tight spaces, but I'm just going to go low and slow and try and not make any other mistakes, because you know, mistakes aren't great to make. Also, lest you think I exaggerate how hot it gets, I wanted to show you what happened to this electrical tape that was in the car. It melted and became a conical thing. It looks neat, but I don't know if it's gonna really work anymore. But yeah, it was just sitting like that, and the heat just melted the center out. So it does get a bit spicy here. Okay, this first one I took off from this side of the solenoid runs up to this thing right here. Again, I don't really know what any of these do, but as long as I reattach them wherever I got them, they should work fine. So I'm going to try that. I also only have 2 of these things that will fit on those posts, so I'm gonna have to go get more, but that's okay because I gotta go pick up the voltage regulator in about half an hour anyway, so that all works out. Alrighty, one down, dozens to go, but you know, making progress slowly but surely. One thing I would like to do, but I don't know how, is make the wires look all neat and clean. I got some zip ties to help with that, but to be honest, I really don't know enough about running wires to even start to try and do that. So I'm just going to try and make it run for now, and maybe later on down the road I can tidy it up a bit when I get that figured out, or maybe I'll gain the expertise along the way. Who knows? The challenge rating on this is probably going to be quite high, so the XP farming will be good. I have this first post repaired. I ended up using the original line. They ran back into the cabin. I've decided to use the original lines in the cabin for 2 reasons. First, because they're extremely difficult to get to where they're located. I cannot contort my body like that, and I kind of already threw my back out a little bit trying, so we're not going to continue that, and they seem like they're okay. Secondly, because the wiring on the inside seemed like it was mostly good and intact, and it looks mostly good and intact coming out from the outside. So the plan right now is, if we find a part that's a little bit worn, we'll repair it with electrical tape, and then if we have enough line to get to where it came from, we'll just chop off any of the bad part, which was this guy, and put a new end on and try it from there, and we'll see how that goes. But so far we've got 2 lines, 2 wires put back on there, and we'll keep at it. We're still moving right along. I've got 2 of these posts on this little thing connected, and this one didn't even have like a connecting post, so I put one on because it was just the wire wrapped around there. So I think I may have improved something that once was. We'll keep working on it. This guy down here has a really strange connector that I don't know what it is. It's like a canister or a ball or something. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with that one. Maybe I can reuse it, or maybe that one just gets taped, although that one is really in bad shape. So I don't know, we'll see. Now, some of these wires are in really bad shape, but they'll have a unique connection thing that I don't really know how to take out of there. So for those wires, I'm going to wrap them in electrical tape to prevent any shorts along the way, and just put them back and see how that works. At the very least, it'll be better than it was. The bottom one on this post is our old friend, the coil wire. So we can thankfully replace that, because this wire is just an awful mess and has a garden hose on it. So yeah, we could put a brand new wire in. That's good. I mean, here's the wire that we were using for the coil. I can't imagine why we were having you know, problems with it. It's such a beautiful piece of wiring, like without any issue at all. We'll add that to our little pile over here. It's been about an hour and a half, and I've got pretty much the solenoid done. The only thing missing on that is the starter wire, and now it's on there. So the solenoid is pretty much done. That thing, I got 3 of the 4 terminals updated, so just need to figure out what to do with this like specialty one down here. Might just wrap that in tape. I don't know, but if I can get it off and look at it, maybe I can replace it, but I'm going to keep working on that. Using a combination of PB blaster and then just yanking, I was able to pull this cord out of that last socket. The wire is really in bad shape. It's got fraying everywhere. The connection between that wire and the wire that it comes from is very bad. Like it's just wrapped around it. So I am going to go to the store, because hopefully my voltage regulator will be in, and see if I can find a terminal like this, because it's got to go into, it's hard to show you, that bottom one, and I think that's for the horn. So if we don't get it, not the ending of the world, but I mean, we'll need it for, well, I guess there's 2 horns. I don't know how that works, but I'd like to get that fixed if possible, and this wire just is not going to do. So I'm going to run up to the store, hopefully pick up my parts. My phone overheated, so I can't tell if they arrived or not, but it should be after 11, I think. Certainly feels like 3 hours have gone by. Yeah, see if I can find one of those connectors, and we'll get back to you. Well, unfortunately, nobody at the auto parts store knew what that was, or the ending of it was, or anything that could substitute for it. So we are going to be reusing this wire. I will electrical tape it, and I will probably put a connector there just because that's bad, and we'll see if it works. Again, I believe this is to the horn, so maybe not that big of a deal if it's not working 100%. I did get the new voltage regulator in. Not a cheap part, by the way, if you're getting one of these, but I sure hope it fits. Oh, one big thing when doing this, and I will try and remember because it's critical, is to polarize the generator after attaching wires and before starting the engine by momentarily connecting the wire across A and B terminals. Alright, this one says arm, field, and battery. Yeah, we're working our way to this guy, but I'm going to keep on the wires for right now, and we'll get back to you. Is it the right way? Nope. Is it perfect? Is it better than it was? Yes. Will it work? I guess we'll find out. But at least there are no bare wires kind of touching. Okay, so this exceptionally bad cable that was rubbing against these other 2 cables down here runs to the generator. So that's probably what was contributing to the short. So let's take this whole guy off. Because you see, not so much like here, but pretty much just where it might meet other wires is where it's bare. So that's not super good. Also, that's a fitting I don't have. Let me check the new one. Alright, the new one could use that as a fitting, but it looks like I could also use some of these other ones. So we'll try and do that. This one's probably got to be a pretty beefy boy, so I've got a 10 gauge cable or wire for him, and I'm hoping that will work just fine. But I'm going to keep tearing into this voltage regulator and getting the old wires off and the new ones on. I am going to also double check that these are in the same order as those on the old one, because you do not want to hook those up in the wrong direction. Otherwise, we're going to be back right here where we started, and this isn't a great place to be. So come on now, let's get out of here. While I've got this off, I might as well try and clean this terminal, because we want it to have as good a connection as possible. So I've just got a brass bristle brush, say that 3 times fast, and I'm just kind of trying to get it back to shiny metal on it to give it the best connection possible. And I have the wire I made, so I can just put it on there. That's maybe too big, but we'll crimp it down and it'll be fine. I think we found the exact area that caused the short. The field wire and ground wire or something. Several wires from this regulator touched each other right there. And that's probably what caused the death of this unit. So we will try and avoid that if we can. Okay, I got the old voltage regulator out, and we have the new one here. All 3 of the terminals on the new one are on this side. The old one split it between 2 on that side and 1 on that side. Though it did not appear to label which is which is not super great. Let me get a screwdriver, open this up, and see what's inside. Believe it or not, those screws are rusted tight on there, and they're a real small size screwdriver, so I can't get enough torque on them with the tiny screwdriver. So that's going to continue to be, as J.J. Abrams likes to call it, a mystery box. But we're going to assume bad things happen in there. Alright, now on to the new one. I'm hoping that this will bolt up the same way as the old one, though these were not labeled. I'm going to have to figure what these were or are, because this has to be wired up the right way, or we're going to immediately short this out and boop, 80 bucks down the drain. 90. And it doesn't have any labeling on the bottom. But having said that, it's also about 1 p.m. now and about 105 degrees, and in direct sunlight, that's rough. I've been out here about 4.5 hours, so I think I'm going to call it a day for today. But we are making some progress. We've got a lot of the wires redone. Hopefully next time I come out here, we can get the voltage regulator put back in and get the rest of the wires redone, and I can figure out which side of the post to put those wires back on. But we did make some good progress, and I'm happy with that. So it's a much better situation than it was last time. But yeah, I'll pack up here, and then we'll come back out here probably tomorrow, maybe in the evening when it's a bit cooler, and try and get some more done. I do have one thought before heading out today. People that are mechanics definitely deserve to be paid well, because this is not an easy job. I'm not even really doing that hard of stuff. I'm just kind of trying to follow what was already done and replace it. But people that weld and do body work and paint, like, it is a highly skilled job and extremely difficult circumstances and conditions to do it in. So if you are a mechanic out there, thank you for your work. It's not easy to do. So I just want to say I have gained a tremendous appreciation for that over the past couple of weeks. Let's get that voltage regulator in. The first thing that we need to do is spiffy up this area here where the voltage regulator goes, so it has a nice bare metal to connect to, so it can have a good ground. We'll spray that down with some brake cleaner and it should be ready to go. Thankfully that dries pretty quick in this temperature. So now we have a perfect clean surface. Well, mostly perfect. Good enough for the girls we date. All right, let's see if it fits. By George, I think it does. That's not right. All right, we have the new voltage regulator installed. It's got a clean metal behind it, so it should have a good solid connection. Now we just need to figure out where the 3 wires on it go. Let me double check my notes and I'll get right back to you. So the top one is arm, the middle one is field, and the bottom one is battery. So let me get my notes correct on this because we don't want to mess this up. Alrighty, we've got the charger from the generator hooked up to the ADM. We've got the little line from the generator hooked up to the field. We've got the thick line from the car, or the key, hooked up to the battery. So this should not draw any current. We've got one more step to do, and that's to polarize the generator. So you need to connect that one to that one, the top one to the bottom one, using a little jump line. Do not, under any circumstances, touch the middle one or anything else that might be metal to ground it, or you will immediately cause a short and destroy everything you've just done. No pressure, right? Let's get a jump wire. I'm going to be using these little testing things as the jump wire. So, whew, there should be a brief spark, which means it's worked. This should not be enough voltage to kill me. Oh, and it only has to be for a second, but there should be a brief spark when I touch these, and that will polarize the generator. I don't know if you saw it. There's a brief spark that tells the generator which way it needs to go. Theoretically, we can now turn this car on, and I'm excited to do that. Are you? That's going to be an absolute miracle if that worked. But maybe today will be a day for miracles. I'm going to fill up the carburetor with some gas so it can kick off, and we should be good to see if this works. Cross your fingers. Okay, moment of truth. sounds like it's running pretty good. Got 40 pounds of oil. Did I put water in there? Just run a test. Alright, we're filling up the radiator. I mean, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Is that just me? My exuberance? This is watering very slowly. I mean, it sounds pretty good. Maybe all it needed was to not have, you know, bare metal everywhere, connection-wise. That was the hose, not the car. Alright, there's no thermostat, so this radiator should be full open. Oh, yeah. It does help if you close the petcock to keep the water in. Oil pressure's at 40. Temp is holding steady a little bit less than half. It sounds really good, doesn't it? I did order some new hoses for the radiator. Still have the blow-by, but maybe we can fix on that. I just want to make sure that the temp can stay good so we can actually run the cleaning solution through it. I mean, that hose feels warm. We got a couple of drips out of the bottom, but I think it's all that water I threw around earlier. Okay, oil pressure, still good. Shifter knob looks great. Temp seems to be doing pretty good. Car not burning down. I mean, does that sound good to you, or is that just me? That sounds pretty good. I'm not seeing any leaks. Hard to tell, I guess, but I don't think I see any. It doesn't look like that's flowing, like it's not moving around. Let's get the temp gun just to make sure we're doing okay. 152, 147, 149, 149, 134. Let it never be said that an L-head engine from 76 years ago can't run like a Singer sewing machine. That sounds really good. I do remember now I need a muffler, but the engine itself, I'm not hearing anything. I don't think. Accelerator pump still work? Yes, it does. Still at half temp. I mean, that fan is close, but it's still not in any danger of touching. Maybe if I revved it more, it would suck it in, so I'm not going to do that. I'm not seeing any leaking from the water pump, which is magical. What are we doing over here, guys? 125, 155, 167, 178, 150, side of the block, 150. I was told to check the back over here because this part gets hot. Exhaust manifold will be hot though. 188. All right. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut her down. We're going to drain the water out, and we're going to try the chemical flush. We're going to need to run that just at idle like this for about 30 minutes. So, and if we can't run it the full 30 minutes, we'll shut her down, let her cool off, and run it again. So let's shut her off and see what happens. But great success! Alrighty, folks, it's time to get our Walter White on here and use some chemistry. We're going to be using citric acid. You can find this in the baking aisle. Basically, it's a concentrated orange or lemon. Now, you can eat this. It is pure organic, but we're going to use it for another purpose. So this is a 1 pound bag, nope, 2 pound bag. So that's why I have 4 jugs of distilled water. You want to use distilled water rather than just tap water, because it could have impurities in it that you don't want creating additional chemical reactions. All right. Theoretically, this should be a 4-gallon radiator cooling system when completely drained. Again, since this is organic, you don't need to use gloves or anything. You don't want to get any in your eye, it'll sting. But like, this is perfectly safe, non-death. Alrighty, now we just need to, well, that's pretty dissolved, I think. What to mix it with? We'll use a stick, but a clean one. It actually pretty much dissolved as I was just pouring it in there. Special thanks to my buddy Al over at Aeromech for this recipe. All right, the last thing we need to do is make sure this is warm. LOL, just kidding. Of course it's warm. It's like 100 degrees. So we'll pour this in the radiator and turn it on. But before you do that, you want to make sure that you also have some baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda. Again, you can pick this up in the baking aisle to neutralize this when we're done with it, because we don't want this acid staying in there and eating the engine block. Okay, So I'm going to pour this in there, and then we can turn it on and run it for 30 minutes, hopefully. If you get this on your hands, you will know very soon if you have a cut, though. Maybe it's a 2-gallon. I'm gonna load up with just a little bit more just in case. We will turn this on now and let the run begin. I'm also going to film this in real time so you guys can watch moment by moment, so this might be a kind of long video. Okay. I'm going to leave it running for 30 minutes. If that gets low, I'll refill it. See what we can do. Well, we've been running about 10 minutes. I noticed it was running kind of choppy, and the number 1 spark plug had fallen off. So I put it back on. Seems to be running better now. Temperature-wise, 169. 181 in the back, 160, 166. Check the side of the block. $167. So, seem to be doing okay. Temp gauge seems to be holding at about 3/4. Oil gauge has dropped down to about 25. The only problem I've noticed is it doesn't look like that's moving. I don't know why. So, I don't know. It couldn't be staying cool if there wasn't coolant running through it. But we'll see. We've got about another 19 minutes on this and we'll get back to you. I had to shut her down at 20 minutes. So we've got 10 more minutes. We need to run this. That radiator hose, or the radiator, didn't have coolant flowing through it. I feel pretty confident the new water pump should be working. So it may be that we have some sort of a trapped air bubble, which is preventing the coolant from working, or just a ginormous amount of debris in the back, which is preventing it from flowing. Neither are great options, but the air bubble would be much better since that's going to be easier to get out. So I think we can wait for it to cool down a little bit and then try to burp the system. I tried squeezing on the radiator hose to burp it, but that did not seem to do anything. Maybe in part because that has a steel spring in it. But yeah, this water here was just not, it's come back up a bit, but it wasn't flowing like it should be, because there's no thermostat. Maybe that's the problem though. But I'm gonna let it cool down and then try and burp it. Alright, so I'm trying to bleed any air that might be out or still in this. I think since I think since this is at a forward angle, just draining the front petcock didn't help. I can't really get to the other one that's on that side of the block because it's a little hot right now, but I can maybe get some of it out of here, and that'll help let it get burped a bit, because this is looking like it's coolant green and smells like coolant. So the good news is there was coolant running this, so that should have helped alleviate any rust. I don't want to have this water touch me though, because it's probably too hot for skin. But I'm going to leave this open a little bit, try and see if I can get any air out of there. Yeah, and just keep going at it. Okay, I bled quite a bit of the liquid out of that for about 15 minutes. Then I noticed that the water in here had gone down quite a bit. So I turned it back on to see if maybe that will work. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's kind of moving around, but I don't know if it's because of the car, just the natural movement of the car, or the water. So we're gonna keep going, see what we can do. Temp looks good. I had a chance to cool down. So hopefully everything will work out a-okay. Nope, no chance of that. That's fine. Okay, well, I've had her running about 45 minutes now. I still haven't gotten the water to really circulate in here. The top is 163 and the bottom is 145. But it doesn't look in here like the water's turning. I'm not sure why that would be. We are on a slight incline with the nose of the car up a little bit, but without the thermostat in, I would imagine that would help any air that's trapped in there get out. Even after revving it like I did, the temperature gauge is only 3/4, though the oil gauge has dropped to 1/4, which is 20 pounds. So I don't quite know why that would be the case. I know that we do have a good amount of blow-by coming out of it, but I don't know, would that be enough? But regardless, I'm running out of daylight and I don't want to leave the citrus in here overnight. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut her down, drain her, do a really good flush with tap water, and then do a flush with the baking soda, and then fill it up again. Well, we'll probably do the baking soda, then flush it, and leave it that way for a minute, because I ordered some new radiator hoses, and they should be here next time. So I think we'll do that before we lose the light. I wasn't expecting that much of a reaction, but when I put the water and baking soda in there, it geysered up. I guess it was reacting with the citric acid. Still don't know if it's flowing, but it erupted from there. Temp is doing really well right now. Oil pressure is still really, it's about 19 or 20. I have this old bottle that I found in the house of non-detergent motor oil, but it's not new and I don't really know what's in it. But if it gets to a critical point, I'll pop it in because I'm going to change the oil anyway. But I'd rather not use that if we don't have to. So I've got the water in there with the baking powder, and I'm going to run this for about 15 minutes or so, and then I'm going to open the drain on the bottom, stick a garden hose in the top, and just run it for about another 20 minutes. Make sure we get all the baking soda out of there, because I don't think you want that. And that'll be it for today, because I want to put the new hoses on before I put the new coolant in. It's been about 15 minutes. We're going to drain the radiator, stick a hose in the top, and have that run for about 20 minutes. Hopefully get all that stuff out of here. I don't know if any of it made it past the radiator into the block though. We'll see. Temp is about 3/4, oil is about 1/4. So put them together, half and half. We're doing pretty good, right? We're gonna let this run and flush all that out, hopefully. Here's all the bad wires we took off. Hopefully that'll help it run better. Oil and temp are still holding steady. Sounds pretty good. I guess when the direct sun isn't beating down on it, it does a little bit better. As do I. Alrighty, it's been about 20 minutes. Just kind of running through the, well, at least the radiator. The temperature stayed cool. I ran up to the gas station and bought 2 quarts of oil and put it in there to try and help that oil pressure up. It does look like it came up a little bit, so we'll have to figure that out another time. But we made some really good progress. We got the wiring done for the most part. We got a new voltage regulator in there that's working. The car seems like it's running better than ever, just the way the engine sounds. Right now it's stayed running cool. I don't know if that's going to hold up, but we'll count it as a win for right now. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. So I'm going to count that as a win. I feel a lot better at the end of today than I did two or three days ago. And sometimes that's why it's important to just back away and reassess what you're doing. Give yourself a little bit of time, but come back to it when you feel like you're ready, because you don't want to work angry. That's when you make mistakes. But I really appreciate all of you guys for watching, your insights, your encouragement. I know I say that every time, but it really does mean the world to me, so thank you for that. It's been a real journey so far. We've got a little bit ways more to go, and I hope that you'll want to follow along with me to get her back on the road, because I think we're getting pretty close. But that'll be it for me today. This is Gary with Redcap Mechanic, signing off.